Welcome back to the channel everyone, and today we will be starting another new Nuzlocke, but this time going on to Gen 3. Yes, we'll be doing our very first Pokémon Emerald Nuzlocke, one of the games that I used to play on the Game Boy itself, so I'm very excited to start this one. But if you do enjoy this video, I'd like to ask you to please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, but now let's get straight into this. And after watching a grown-ass man fail to defend himself against a level 2 Zigzagoon, we could finally start our journey. And I decided to use Trico because I genuinely always picked him. I think Sceptile is so cool, so not really any good reason for it, as probably the best reason is picking Torchic, considering there's not that many fire Pokemon in this game that are useful at least. And there is quite a few good grass types, but I don't really care, so leave the Trico is joining our team immediately. We then beat May for the first time, which was quite easy considering we've already leveled up quite a bit. We could then finally catch some Pokemons, and we caught this Poochyena on Route 101, which I called Dog. And then on Route 103 we caught a Wingull, which I called Lil Shit, because every single Seagull is a piece of shit. We then somehow find a Ralts, which is absolutely insane. Like, this could genuinely be a game changer in this entire run, considering Gardevoir is such a powerful Pokemon. And then we killed it instantly, of course, because that's the fucking luck we have. We then met the gym leader dad and had to somehow care for a kid that he was about to train. So yeah, that really is fun, mate. We've already caught a lot of Pokemon. I don't need you to see actually catch anything. And this is just rubbing salt in the wounds, really. And after that we went into Petalburg Woods, which very annoyingly got us into a bug fight at the very beginning. Wasn't tough, but Dog was almost dead at that point. And after getting a few Poochyenas in this forest, our first actual encounter was a Slakoth, which, once again, very lucky. But because I was kinda dumb, I thought he would just use a sleep move on me and Dog could probably outlive him. So I kinda just gambled with Dog's life, and he died immediately. So that is our first death of the run, quite early on. We haven't even beaten one gym yet, but at the same time we did catch a Slakoth, which I called Lazy. And after that we went on to Route 116, in which we caught this Nincada, which I called Roach. And we then went on to basically spend quite a lot of time just training up our Lil Shit and our Trico to hopefully beat the gym quite easily. Considering, I mean, we have a Trico, we have a Wingull. It should be easy. Even though Wingull could potentially die to a rock throw or something, Leaf should easily clear out this gym. And I'll be honest, it was quite easy, but it did take quite a bit of time considering she just kept healing Nosepass and he's quite a tank. So I'm quite happy that we got this through. And with that we got our first evolution, as Leaf decided to evolve into a Growlithe, which is very good in this game. I also do just really like Growlithe's design, it's so good. We then basically only saved Piku because we needed a bow to get to the next gym. But before we could use that we had to fight May again, which in all honesty was quite easy to do. I just used Yawn with Lazy and eventually all their Pokemon went to sleep. And after beating a very easy May, we decided to finally take up this travel option and go to Dewport. I then sadly lost the recording of the Dewport cave encounter, but we did catch a Makuhita, which I called Sumo. And after leveling in that cave, Lazy did eventually evolve into a Vigoroth, which in all honesty is so good in this game. Like, I love this. And with our Wingull and our Vigoroth, this was quite an easy battle, with Lil Shit basically taking out the entire team. And it being quite an easy battle, but that is why it's a Nuzlocke, it's to make it a lot harder. And the hardness will definitely come in this one. And after doing quite a bit of useless story mode time, we could finally move on with the adventure. Because let's be honest, who actually cares about the story in this point of the game? And after training against some trainers and a lot of wild battles, we finally got to another battle against May. And honestly, I've heard a lot of people say that this is like one of the toughest rival battles, but I honestly can't really see it. I mean, Roach almost died, but other than that, nothing special really happened. And after leaving one of my spots open in the party, we eventually got Roach to evolve, which got us 2 more Pokemon. Because Roach did evolve into Ninjask, but we also did get a Shedinja in the party because of it. Still don't really know how this works, but at the same time I don't really mind. But we couldn't give Shedinja any name yet. We then caught a few Pokemon that we would never use, and we did eventually beat Wally as well, which was really easy to do. We then got ourselves a bike that I honestly almost never used, so it was kinda useless. And we also, while defeating one of the gym trainers in the next gym, we got Sumo to evolve into a Makuhita, which of course is very sick and is a very strong Pokemon and useful as well. I then decided that I was strong enough to actually challenge Watson, and I decided to lead on with Shedinja because Shedinja can only be attacked by a certain amount of moves, only basically the ones that are super effective to him. I didn't know this vault up had rollouts, so we lost one of the most overpowered Pokemons in the entire game within like a few minutes after getting him. The rest of the battle went quite easily, but I still felt very bad about the Shedinja death because I feel like this could have been a very powerful ally to use in this run. We then went on to Route 112 and we got a Numel, which I eventually called Cam. And the Pokemon that we got in Fiery Path was a Koffing, which I called Smokey. And this part took actually quite a bit of time because it wasn't hard, but it was quite easy, but at the same time it just is long to get to the next gym. But when doing that, Lil Shit got evolved into a Pelipper, which once again very useful. And after seeing Team Aqua and Aqua beat each other up a bit, it's just, yeah, we decided to move on because I honestly don't care about the story. Once again, the story is the least important thing to me. I just want to play the battling game. But after seeing all that go down, we finally got another Pokemon to potentially add to our team in the next few minutes, as we got a Zubat and we once again called him Bruce, because the last few times it didn't go that well with him. We then randomly got this egg, so to actually try and hatch it, we did this. Just a lot of going back and forth on the bike. This is one time that I actually used the bike, and in all honesty I'm quite disappointed with what hatched, because it's a why not and I just don't care about a why not. And after doing all of that, we could finally get to Flannery, which is known to be a very hard gym. Especially in Nuzlocke, considering her Torkoal is just a fucking tank. And I'll be honest, the start of this gym was just very easy, with Lil Shit just basically killing everything that came in its path. And then the monster came, the Torkoal that everyone was making a fuss about, and look at the small amount of damage our water gun did to it. We then got a very big, super effective water gun, and I thought this was going to be the end of Lil Shit because he kept on missing everything, but somehow he quite easily killed the Torkoal. I thought this would have been a lot harder and I would have probably had to like sacrifice one of my Pokemons here. But we didn't have to, and we quite easily got our 4th badge using only our Lil Shit. After then getting a jump scare from May because I thought she was gonna battle me again, we got the Go Goggles and we could finally get another Pokemon to our team. And our first encounter in this tower was a Trapinch, which I eventually called Rani, which is basically like my lost dog that I had a while back. I just thought that it looked like her. And while outside we also called a Baltoy, which I called Bok. And after traveling a long way back in reverse with our boat, we finally got to Petalburg. And with that, this is the current team, which is absolutely stacked with some amazing Pokemons that could potentially become some of the best Pokemons in this game. We then trained our Pokemons up a bit against the trainers of the gym, and then after which we could finally battle our dad, Norman. And I'll be honest, I was quite scared of this battle going in. I did have Sumo, who was kind of carrying the entire battle, but other than that, Lil Shit took out his Linoon, and then his Slaking came. And I'll be honest, this battle just really took a while. That's the only thing I really hate about it. Because even though Slacking is very powerful and very good, we do just have time to heal, so it was quite easy to do this. And after teaching Lil Shit how to surf, we can finally catch a few more Pokemons, which this Tentacool was a perfect candidate for. So I caught it and called it Hydro and sent it straight to the PC. We then completed a side quest for Watson, in which we actually got a Magnemite, which I called Cyclo. We then went up into the Weather Institute and completely destroyed every Aqua Grunt there, and we did actually get a Pokemon from the people there. And that was a cast form which I never used, but I did call it Ballsack because it looks like one. I then once again lost quite a bit of footage, so we had a battle with May and we did lose our Vigoroth there. Lazy did get killed, but other than that every Pokemon survived and a few of them even evolved, so was quite confident going into the Winona battle. Especially with Cyclo, I thought this would have been quite easy and the first little Pokemon actually went down quite easily. But because Cyclo's health wasn't doing that well, I decided to switch in Lil Shit, and I forgot that water is weak against Dragon. So I decided to Supersonic it, Altaria, and hope for the best. And hoping for the best wasn't a good choice because Lil Shit died. After Cam actually did pretty decent damage, I just decided to keep her in and hope for the best once again. It didn't look that great, but we did eventually pull through with Altaria dying. We then healed up Cyclo for a bit, who could quite easily take out her Paralipper, and Cam actually did pretty well against her Skarmory. And after a little battle between her Tropius and her Cam, we also lost Cam, so I'll be honest, I was just losing Pokemon left, right and center at this point after not losing him at any point in this entire run so far, except for a few. But Tropius was eventually killed quite easily with Cyclo, and it just made me feel even worse because we could have probably saved Cam if I had just been a little bit more smart on this battle. If I just locked in for a bit and switched out Camerupt. Honestly, this would have probably been a real easy run, but I just didn't do it for some reason. And we had now lost two of our very strong contenders of potentially endgame Pokemons, which, yeah, it just hurts a lot, man. So I decided to get a new typing for both a flying type and a water type, so we got our Hydro and our Bruce back in it. And as you can see, there's quite a few Pokemon in here, but I just never really used them. I did put Roach back in the box because he simply isn't as strong as I wanted him to be. But we will try to get this team to be better. And after a bit of leveling with them, Bruce evolved into a Golbat, and after a little while, it took a little bit longer with Hydro, but he did eventually evolve into Tentacruel. And after grinding for a long ass time with a lot of battles and a few Pokemon caught and named that we would never use, I thought we would finally get into the Safari Zone, but we couldn't because I didn't pick up the Pokemon case from the Lily Cove contest hall. We then caught a Shuppet, which I called Sock, and on some random mountain we caught a Vulpix, which I called Sweetie, if you know you know. And we caught that Vulpix on Mount Pyre, on which we had to fight a lot of Team Aqua runs because they are gonna try and take an orb to destroy the world with water, blah 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 blah. I then battled May again, which I think is actually an optional battle, but I didn't lose any Pokemons here, so I don't really care. And afterwards I spent just basically a lot of time trying to get a team a lot better by buying TMs and basically just giving them to whatever Pokemon could take them. And I thought that to continue with the jury I had to actually just get Bruce to evolve to a Crobat, because apparently Golbat can't learn Fly and Crobat can. But this just took too long for me, so I decided to just walk back and continue the story that way. And after that I just spent a lot of time going through the Magma hideout, and honestly, this is why I don't really like the story mode in these games. It's just, it takes so much time to continue this and it's horrible to do. And after Maxi could finally realize how stupid it is that a blue orb is used for a magma lava monster, Groudon escaped. Nice. Lovely. He then somehow blamed me for it, but it was quite easy to beat him after that, so yeah. Maxi, can you just stop being in the story now? And after a long time of surfing, we eventually got to Moss Deep, which had the next gym. Tane and Liza, a duel battle, which I didn't really have anything for. And while being up there, we went to Shoal Cave and we found a Spheal, which I really like. So we caught it and named it Baller. And after a little while, our Rani actually evolved into a Vibrava, which was also very good to see because our team was finally becoming really strong. And not long after, our Leaf also evolved into Sceptile, which, I'll be honest, I don't really know which design I like more, the Sceptile design or the Grovyle design. I think both are such good Pokemons. And with that, I was very confident into our next gym battle, which was a double battle. And after the battle started, I thought this would have been quite easy considering Leaf is super effective against half their team. And we did teach Rani Crunch, but Rani almost immediately died, and if their Satu actually did any other attack against Rani, it would have been done for. So I decided to just heal Rani up and hope for the best, while Leaf was basically just attacking the rest of their Pokemons. And their Claydol died because of that tactic, if you can even call it that. But it was very stressful. And for a little while after that, it felt like this was just going to be another easy gym battle, and I'll be honest, I thought it was it. I thought we were done with it, but we lost our starter.
we lost Leaf to a very strong psychic attack. And I'll be honest, this is really hurting me. Because it's the starter, it's one of your best Pokemons, and just... I loved Sceptile when I was younger, and I still do. And it just... yeah, this is just rough, really. It really is. And maybe my sadness just decided to make me absolutely stupid because I switched in Hydro, who easily died to another another psychic attack. Like, honestly, we're just leaving Pokemon left to die, really. I know I couldn't switch in Bruce. I know Sumo was probably gonna be the best option we had, considering Cyclo could potentially kill the Satu, but honestly, Sumo almost dying as well. This was a really tough battle. I knew that this would probably be done within a few minutes, but oh, it felt really bad because I really, really wanted this to just go well and not have anyone die here, but we did. And after losing 2 Pokemons in this gym battle, we eventually did get through with it, but honestly, this felt like a loss because 2 of honestly our very strong Pokemons is just really tough to change.
We then helped Steven fight off Maxi again, and I'm just gonna show you the team that we have currently. Because we did change a few things up after, of course, the few people dying. We got put Baller in, and for now we've put our 3 Tropius in, which I didn't show you me getting, but I'll be honest, I basically just used him to fly everywhere. And after defeating Maxi and his team, basically we could just go on with the story. Yay!
We then had Baller evolve into a Celio, and I'll be honest, Baller is a very good exchange from Hydro, but it's still sad that we lost like Hydro and Leaf, like Leaf especially, but we got die from Steven and we can then finally go on with our journey.
And after swapping our 3 for Onion, the Oddish which I caught a while back, it evolved into Gloom.
And after giving Onion a Leaf Stone, we did eventually evolve it into a Vileplume as well, which is a very good replacement for Leaf, but I'm still sad about it. And in all honesty, I just hope that Bruce finally levels up to a Crobat because we need Fly in this team. And after learning Baller how to dive, we finally got to the Seafloor Tavern, which had a lot of puzzles and a lot of battles, which in all honesty weren't that hard, but it took a while to complete them, especially the puzzles. Even though I know this is made for like a 5-year-old, it's still quite hard to do, I'll be honest. And we then basically just beat another team leader, who was once again stupid enough to think that a red orb is used for a blue Pokemon. Come on, bro.
But after that we used to dive back and try to catch another few Pokemon encounters, and I'll be honest, a Chinchou isn't that bad to actually have in the box, but for now we'll use Baller as our water type. And we then also saw Groudon and Kyogre just battling it out, and I'll be honest, Groudon on that little piece of land is just aura farming, bro. And after talking to Wallace and basically just telling him, well, Rayquaza will be at the Sky Pillar, we decided to go there. So after going there and getting Rayquaza to actually shut these guys up, we could probably just end the story right here, because this is basically where it all is. And I'm just stalling time because I actually think that these little animations are very cool. And I just thought I'd show you because Rayquaza is just badass. And also just has, like, honestly one of the best shiny legendaries ever. And after all that was done, we could finally challenge the 8th gym. And after a lot of training, we actually got quite a few evolutions before we started this. As Bruce first evolved into Crobat, which took a lot longer than expected really, because the friendship levels had to go up. And we also got Baller to evolve. And I'll be honest, up until this point, our team was looking pretty darn basic, but with these evolutions like Baller into Walrein and even Rani into Flygon, we actually had quite a stacked team, which I really liked. So after doing the ice puzzles, which definitely were harder when I was a child, we could finally challenge Leader 1. And I'll be honest, I started with Bruce on accident, which no, ain't great, but at the same time, I don't really care. We basically just switched around between Onion and Cyclo, and that was honestly all it needed. His Kingdra from Khan just basically used rest the entire time, but other than that, it was quite easy to take him down. And after defeating that 8th and final gym, we finally decided to go straight to the next part of our journey, which was victory. Which is very good considering we had Waterfall and gave it to Baller, and Baller has basically just become our HM and TM slave. And I'll be honest, once again I was quite confident going into Victory Road. I didn't think it would actually take that. Mainly because I also just looked up a map every single time I go to Victory Road just to be sure that I make it through. But we did have to fight Wally again, and I'll be honest, Wally is like one of these trainers that is... like, it isn't a hard battle, but it could get dangerous. For example, this Altaria used Dragon Dance a few times and I was quite scared of it, especially after this full restore, but I thought, well, I might as well just keep on spamming some attack moves and just hope for the best. And we've almost lost Bruce to his Altaria, which not great considering Bruce is absolutely wonderful on our team. But you know what? Little switch out and he should be fine. And we basically just let Rani spam Crunch on his Gardevoir and it was quite easy to beat. And other than that, we basically just switched around a few times. And honestly, Wally, you're not that guy, pal. We also did find a Laron in there. And we haven't caught an Aron yet. So this was quite a good catch. But yeah, we don't ever use it really. Because I just really like the team that we have currently. But I was really tempted though. Because Aggron is just a very, very good Pokemon to use. But yeah, I just couldn't really find anyone that I would replace in this team. And after doing a lot of puzzles and basically beating every single trainer that kept putting up a fight really, we finally could tell that we have made it to Evergrande City, the place of the Elite Four and the champion. And before I went in, I actually flew back to the move deleter to change some few moves of our Pokemons. And this is the team that we're gonna be using for the Elite Four. All level 50, I trained them up to get into this. And this is actually the first time, I believe, that I haven't had a starter going into this. So it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be a good one as well. And we started off by battling Elite Four member Sydney. And he used Dark types, which Sumo should be easily taken care of. But a few sand attacks were quite annoying and we did get a few damage to Sumo, so I switched out to Bruce for his Night Leaf. And honestly, I thought this would have been a lot easier, but we almost lost Sumo in the first battle, which Sumo is basically our starter currently because he has been in the team the longest. I don't want to lose him. But after subbing Sumo out and basically taking out his Cacturne and Crawdaunt with our type advantages, it was quite easy. But this could have ended really badly if we've lost Sumo because I need Sumo in the next few battles as well. But our second Elite Four challenger was actually a lot easier than I expected as we've challenged Phoebe, the Ghost type trainer. With many of our Pokemons either knowing like a Dark type super effective move or just very strong moves in general, this wasn't a real tough battle. And we also didn't lose anything or almost lose anybody here. The last battle was Sableye against Bruce and Bruce could just use Aerial Ace while Sableye kept spamming Double Team. Honestly, a very easy battle. Like, easier than expected, and I'm happy with that. Completely fine with it as well. And next up in the Elite Four was a trainer named Glacia, and I wanna just let you quickly take a guess what type of Pokemon she uses. And well, we started off with Sumo again, and he genuinely just quite easily took out her first Celio and her first Glalie. But he did take just a tiny bit of damage, so he switched him out for Cyclo, and Cyclo just easily took out her second Celio. So when she decided that her next Pokemon was going to be a Walrein, I just let Cyclo stay in because I thought it would have been easy as well. But it didn't turn out to be as easy as I expected, considering her Walrein missed the first attack. I thought it will be the same. Like, look at the damage we've done. I thought Cyclo was gonna clear this with ease. But then this happened. Sheer Cold is a one-hit KO. I didn't know that. So, goodbye Cyclo, I guess. Honestly, I felt really bad about that because Cyclo is such a good Pokemon. Like, Magneton is so good. So I decided to switch in our own Walrein with Baller going in and basically just spammed a few attacks and it didn't really work out that well. And I thought that we were gonna lose quite a few here. But I decided to basically just spam a few water attacks on this Walrein because I could heal for a lot more than she could. And I thought it would have just been the best to just keep on putting in with Baller, because Baller honestly could take every attack that was thrown at him. And after that, Sumo basically just finished off the battle, and I felt like I could have just used Sumo the entire time. But you know, that's just a thought from after the battle, and we've now just lost one of our strongest Pokemons. Like, I haven't even used Rani or Onion yet, and I've basically used Cyclo the entire time. So this was a tough first loss, but at the same time we did a lot worse in our Soul Silver run at this point, so I can't really complain that much. So our next trainer was Drake, who uses Dragon types. The last time we went up against an Elite Four member, ex-Elite Four member, we went up against Lance in Soul Silver as the champion. We lost very hardly, so I wanted revenge on the Dragon types. So for this battle, I basically just decided to keep on being an asshole by using Baller the entire time, just healing up, attacking once, and just hoping for the best. I'll be honest, it's a dirty attack, but at the same time, it works, so don't really at me. But I decided to switch in Onion for the first time against their Kingdra, but yeah, quite an easy attack, you would say, considering Onion is super effective and should easily beat a Kingdra. It died immediately. Onion, you didn't even get to have the spotlight like a single second. How? But at least the rest of the battle went quite easy. Time we actually went up against a champion. And I'll be honest, I thought we were gonna have the exact same thing happen to us as which happens with us in the Soul Silver run. Because we lost basically our only two options against this battle against Wallace. Wallace uses his water types, of course, but we lost our electric type and our grass type, so I was not happy with this one. But I'll be honest, the first few battles of this champion battle were quite easily done, considering I could just heal Sumo the entire time and he took out his Wailord and his Whiscash. And I'll be honest, at this point I was just playing for this run to win. Like, I didn't want to lose again, so I basically just used a few subs. And I then decided to actually just throw Baller to the wolves. This battle took way too long. Baller kept on missing Hyper Beams and he eventually died. And I'll be honest, it hurt because he was genuinely so important this entire run of the Elite Four and the champion. But we sadly had to leave him behind. And we also almost lost Sumo with this stupid Tentacruel just kept on living. I don't get it how that bastard just keeps on doing it, but he somehow kept surviving on like 1 HP or something. But after a lot of battling and healing, our Sumo finally pulled through with a critical hit while almost dying to his Tentacruel. And then he's ending Gyarados, which honestly, I want to end it. And his Gyarados was his last Pokemon. And I'll be honest, I just didn't know what to do. Bruce was almost dead, Sumo was almost dead. The only one we had left was Rani, which is a Flygon, so that isn't great either. So I was hoping to just poison the Gyarados with Bruce, but he sadly died as well. And then we only had Rani left. So I basically just started sand attacking while he had a recharge from Hyper Beam. And he kept doing Dragon Dances. Like, the few Dragon Dances I was really scared about. So I genuinely was very contemplating on what to do here. Because I wanted to heal Sumo, I wanted to keep on sand attacking, and it was honestly very stressful. And I stupidly decided to try one more sand attack, and Rani just died instantly by one Hyper Beam. But because we had this, I knew we could heal Sumo, which was our last Pokemon. It was literally our last Pokemon against his last Pokemon. So after contemplating whether to attack or not, I did decide to use a max potion so we could get back on our strength. And the sand attacks from Rani seemed to work, as Gyarados kept on missing every single attack he could use. But I didn't know he still had a full restore left. But the attacks somehow just kept on missing, and when this Earthquake hit, I thought it was going to be the end of it. But Sumo kept on clinging on, so I could heal again. This is honestly like one of the worst battles I've been in, like anxiety-wise. But we finally did it with one Pokemon left. Sumo, our new starter, has absolutely run through the Elite Four. He was man of the match, was the only one left standing somehow, and we are now champions of Hoenn. And I'll be honest, this is one of the most scuffed runs I've ever done of a Nuzlocke. I say ever, I've only done 3 of them, but it's very scuffed. We've lost basically everything we had, but we pulled through. Sumo, man of the match. I'll be honest, I don't know why I kept Onion in this team. He didn't do anything. But other than that, Bruce, Baller, Cyclo was amazing. Rani actually pulled through with the sand attacks, so I can't complain about her. Honestly, love this game, and I really want to do it again. Like, I want to do a challenge next time around, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a fire red challenge, something around the lines of picking a certain type, but I need to look into it to actually use the correct type. But that is gonna be it for today. If you did enjoy, I'd like to please leave a like. Let me know in the comments down below what games we should play next on the Nuzlocke and what type I should use in like a type only Nuzlocke. Yeah. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in a bit.